All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 14th, 2011. I just want to go over the trades that we've taken this morning so far and the trades that we missed. It's been a little bit of a choppy day so far, which makes it made it a little more complicated to get the points that we normally try to get. But we are plus one tick here on the ES. We took a couple of trades on the Russell this morning. We ended up plus one tick on that. We took a losing trade and a winning trade over there to get to plus one tick there. And over here on the YM right now, we are minus 12 ticks. We had 3 losing trades and 1 winning trade so far, and that puts us at minus 12 ticks. All right, let me show you where we did all that. I'll start off here with the ES. Okay, I'm going to blow the ES up a little bit so we can see a little bit more of it all at once. And I'll go through the trade setups, the ones that I missed, the ones that I didn't miss, and everything else. All right. Now it was a really choppy morning this morning. I thought with the pre-market news that we had that it wouldn't be as choppy, but it was a little bit of a mixed bag this morning. Most of the news was bad, but this is where we started off our day anyway. All right. Our first trade was right over here. We had a bubble down here. Price tried to pull back up here and hit the BBC, but it didn't pull back up far enough. It came within a tick of hitting the BBC after we got the bubble down here, and the BBC was outside the box. Had we filled there, it would have gone on to win. The next trade pulled up here. All right, it did fill us. Okay, this was a second bubble. This little bubble right here is what we took that second trade on. You do need one bubble per trade, really. This one actually didn't even hit the BBC, so we could have used this first bubble for that second, for this opportunity right here. Anyway, we went short there, and the price moved down about 5 ticks. I put my stop at break even plus a tick, and it came back up and got me a break even plus a tick right here, and then it went down to hit the full 2-point profit target. All right, we had a lower swing pivot in right there. Right there, we had a lower swing pivot in, but we didn't have a bubble, so we didn't take any trades. Now, over here you see on the bottom we had the bubble. Right here the BBC was inside the box, in here, in here, in here. So we didn't have any opportunity until we got all the way over here. All right, over here we had a short opportunity. This was the bubble, this was the pullback, and the BBC was below the box. So we did get short there, and it did not move to 1 point in our favor. Had it done that, I would have moved my stop to break even. What it did do was move up exactly to our stop and take us out right here at 68. That's where our stop was. Okay, after taking us out at 68, it dropped back down a little bit below our entry position, and it continued to move up. Now this was a very choppy area in here. So at this point, we were minus 7 ticks. All right, we got plus 1 on the first one, minus 8 on the second one. Then the market started to move around, and unfortunately, down here we had the bubble and we had the setup. Right here, it pulled back far enough, but we were going right into a zone, so we didn't want to take that trade. All right, that would have won had we not been going right into the zone. The next one pulled up right here, and by the time it actually came up to hit the zone, we had a lower or a higher low, which is right here. We could draw a trend line up the bottoms, basically. So we don't want to be able to do that when we take a trade. We want it to be a nice smooth transition right up to the BBC. Okay, so we didn't try to trade that, and that's good because it went right through the BBC. Got back in the box over here, and it was a little bit messy. Then this trade over here, a bunch of the guys in the room took this trade. I was trying to take this trade. I didn't fill on it, but you see we had the bubble, and price pulled back down, a nice transition back down to the BBC. It gave, I think, 5 or 6 ticks toward the profit target, and then it started to pull back. I didn't fill, so I took my order off once it went up to 5 or 6 ticks, because at that point I would have had my stop at break even or break even plus a tick. I know that some of the guys in the room got point out of it, and some of them got 1 tick out of it. All right, so they had managed their risk accordingly. And that one, had they not managed their risk accordingly, that one would have eventually stopped them out down here. But fortunately they did manage to risk accordingly, and they got some profit out of it for the most part. Again, we went back inside the box, and all this chop in here, we didn't have any opportunities, so we waited and waited and waited. And over here we had an opportunity, but we can't trade into the zone, so we didn't take it right here, okay? We waited and waited some more, and then finally we had another opportunity right over here where we went long. We had a little tiny bit of a bubble right here, and we went long off the BBC right here. We took full 2 points on that, getting us up to plus 1 tick on the morning. All right. There was another opportunity right in here. Now, this one right here, I took my order off on it for a couple of reasons. One was on the 10K. We had printed a resistance dot right up above it on the 10K, on the 10,000 contract ES chart. That's what the 10K is, by the way. We had all this topping action right here. So we hadn't had a lot of follow through in the day up to this point. So I was a little hesitant to take the trade. So I let that one go. If anybody did take that trade, they made their 2 points. But I definitely, if I did take the trade, I would have gotten a break even on it right here. Okay, because this right here would have gotten us up to plus 5 ticks. So I would have gotten a break even on that trade anyway. So we had a higher swing right here, but we had an equally high swing right here. So we had a double top right here in this swing. So there was no trade here. Then we got up here, and I did not see this trade. This was at 11:33. I didn't take this trade. We were closing down the morning session at this time, but we had the bubble and we had the pullback down to the BBC. So the entry on this trade would have been here at either 69.75 or 70. All right. It moved up to 71.25. So I would have gotten a break even on that trade had I taken it. All right, it definitely would have been a break even. And I'm just trying to copy and paste something, but it looks like it's just going to be too much of an effort for my computer right here. After that, there were no more trades in the morning session. Okay, this one right here. After that, there were no more trades in the morning session as of yet on the ES. So we're plus 1 tick on the ES. We missed 2 opportunities. 2 opportunities to take 4 to 8 points out. Well, one of them was a 4-point opportunity. Not point, sorry, tick. One of them was a 4-tick opportunity, and the other one was an 8-tick opportunity. And that's what we had on the ES. Now the YM actually is coming up with a setup right here. What I want to see on this right here, guys, is an up close, and I'll take this trade here on an up close. Okay. We have a little bit of divergence. We're pulling back down to the BBC. We're coming off what I believe is that the high of the day right up there. No, it is not. Okay. But we're coming off a swing high pivot right here. So I would take an up close coming off the BBC right here. Now you can see I was minus 12 ticks. When we ended the morning session, I was actually minus 21 ticks. Okay, so I got 9 ticks out of that last trade, not 10. But when we ended the morning session, I was minus 21 ticks. I had 3 losing trades. But let me blow this up, and we'll go through what's happening over here right now. Okay, these were all my trades this morning. We had some divergence right here, and my first trade. I'm going to move all these arrows out of the way here. Okay, the yellow arrows are the trades that I actually take, and the orange arrows are trades that set up that I did not take. Oops. But I'll move all these out of the way. Now, I shorted here on the first pullback up to the BBC. I only had 7 ticks risk on, so it stopped me out right here. That was my first trade. I was minus 7. I was minus 7 on that one. Then I said, okay, well, you know what? If I get a down close below the BBC and there's still enough room between the BBC and the MA1, I'll still take it. And so I shorted it again right here, and it stopped me out again. You can see that I was right in the direction the whole time, but I just didn't have enough risk on in that case. So I was minus 14 ticks right there Okay. I don't remember where. I think it was over here. We had full divergence. Yeah, my last trade was right here. We had full divergence and it closed down below. It closed down below the MA1. What I didn't realize at this time is that we were right on top of an ES weekly trading zone. So I wouldn't have taken that trade had I realized that at the time. But I did short it right there, and it went back against me. So I was, after that trade, I had 3 losing trades in a row right there. So it was minus 21 ticks. Now after that, the market didn't do anything for a little while in here. It was pretty quiet, and then we had this move right here. I didn't see this when it was happening. I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't see this when it was happening. Price closed down below right here. It closed down below the MA1 after bouncing off the BBC when we had some divergence down here. That would have been a divergent short trade that I would have taken had I seen it, but I didn't see it. All right. After that, price moved back up here and we had a bullish cross, but we never had price pull away from the BBC. All right. We started closing down below it and everything in here. It was really choppy in here. So we didn't trade at all in this area, right in here, all the way to 11 o'clock. Then the price started to move up as we were closing the morning session. I didn't see this trade. I missed it by about 10 minutes, it looks like. And it pulled back down. This trade right here, guys, is the ideal setup. This is a very high probability setup. For those of you guys who are partners that want to see the super high probability setups are the BBC is inside the zone. Price is pulling back down to the BBC for a bounce off the BBC and the zone, and you have divergence, and it's the first pullback after a bullish cross. That's a really high probability setup right there. All right, it pulled back to the BBC to the tick, and then it fired off 30 points or so. The trade that I did take, and I don't know if any of you guys saw me take it at the end, toward the end of the morning session, before the morning webinar was actually shut off, because I think my charts were still being shown. We had divergence, so I waited for an up close and then a pullback down toward the MA1, and I went long right up in here, and I thought I took 10 ticks, but I guess I only took 9 ticks out of that. All right, now right here I'm looking for an up close. So I told the guys this morning that I would, if I had a setup that happened while I was doing the recap, while I was doing the whole thing, I would record it. Now, what we have to look for is our area of opportunity is 60 to 70 right here. All right, and the BBC is down there at 54, so I'm okay going long here at 60 if I can get filled. That's going to put my risk down below the BBC. All right, it'll put my risk down below the BBC and my target right up here at the MA1. If I can get filled on that, I'll take that. If it gets up to the MA1 without filling me, I'll take it off. Okay. That is a live trade. That's the same type of stuff that I do in the morning session in the live trading session. So you guys are aware of it. Anybody that's never been to the live trading session in the morning, so that it's getting up to the MA1. So I'm going to take it off. But had I been paying a little bit more attention, I would have put it right on there at 60 and I would have gotten filled at 60. If I dropped it right on the bid at 60, I would have gotten filled. Hopefully some of you guys managed to get into that trade. I'll check the box here and see if you guys did manage to get into it. But that was a valid long trade right there. Let's see. Okay. All right. I'll go back and review all the questions and stuff in a couple of minutes here, guys. Okay. And well, there's one here that Robert had mentioned, a scaling idea that I had mentioned to him this morning. Trading multiples. If you get in here, take off half when you get to the MA1 and let the rest ride. And he said that he did that on this trade right here. I'm not sure how it all worked out, but I'm sure it worked out profitably. But the part that he let ride, it had another 20 points in it. It looks like 25 points. All right, that's it. I'm going to end the recording right here for the morning session. We were plus 1 tick here on the ES. We were plus 1 tick on the Russell, and we were minus 12 ticks here on the YM. Ah, darn it! Hang on a minute. I'm going to show you the Russell. I'm going to show you the Russell really quick because this is for the newer partners who haven't seen the Russell trades yet. Let me blow this up too. Okay. Let me just go back and find some good examples in here. Okay, I don't mean to go and cherry pick anything. What I want to look at is there's a couple different ways to do it. One, you want to have the BBC up above the box, outside of the box, to be going long. You can wait for a pullback down to the BBC and go long on an up close after that. That's one way to trade it. All right, so you would be going long right here. Once it tests the BBC, you would have been going long right here. And when it flips around, the BBC never got out of the box in here. Over here, it got out of the box right here. You would have been going short over here. Tested right here. You would have been going long right there. Tested and went through. You would have been going long right there. That would have lost. You would have been going short over here. All right. That's one way to do it. Now, there's another way as well. Okay, and I'll show you that quickly right here. Oh, great, Robert. For those of you guys about the YM trade that he scaled out of, he got 10 ticks on the first and 25 on the second. Excellent. All right, now the other way to trade this is you wait for price to go above the elbow like this. All right, and you get a pullback down below the MA1, then you get a close above the MA1 and a close above that. So you would be going long right there. You wouldn't have been doing anything in there. You get a close down below. It's inside the box, so you got to wait till it's outside the box. Over here, you get a close down below the MA1 and a close below that. That didn't go far. Up here, a close above the MA1 and a close above that. Let's see. Over here, we had close below the MA1, and this is the close below that. So that dropped down. Close below and a close below, so that dropped down. And right now it's above the MA1, so we would look for a pullback down toward the BBC, then either trade the up close after the BBC or close above the MA1 and a close above that. This blue line right here is the start, I believe, of the weekly trading zone. Yeah, it goes 61 to 62, I think, the zone. So that is the Russell. All right, now I had taken 2 trades this morning, one for a 6-tick loss and one for a 7-tick win on the Russell. Okay. All right, now I'm going to end the recording.